Hey everybody, Aaron Mac BS detector. Excuse me while I wiggle around. I've got so much stuff underneath me. The camera's all discombobulated. The ceiling caved in yesterday. Ow. Okay, there. The ceiling caved in yesterday. So I think it was, I don't know, I think the toddler upstairs got the hose thing on the sink and just went ham because they said that there's no leak or anything underneath the kitchen sink. I was like, why was nobody watching the toddler? Like they were in the bathroom. I'm like, holy shit. Oh Lord. I don't remember where I stopped, but we're reading Schmionism, a basic reader. Please forgive me. I'm very low energy right now. I just came off of a 3-night closing shift, which is not easy on anybody. I was talking to one of the barbacks last night. He was like, I worked a 15-hour shift. I was like, yeah, man. I used to do that every Saturday up until about a month and a half, 2 months ago. And I quit and went back to my old bar where I work reasonable. I mean, there's still like 5 to, we don't usually get out of there till usually about 4. So they're, 11-hour shifts, but 15 hours, that's a lot. And I used to do that every Saturday. And I was like, how old are you though? He was like, I'm almost 30. I was like, yeah, try being almost 50 and doing that. Like, but you're cute though. Anyways, let's see. I don't remember where I left off. I don't know if it was at the big, there's like, I had to stop because I was running out of room, and I hope that doesn't happen here. I'm going to try to read as long as I can. And y'all, please forgive my hair. Like, I got home, my hair was in a bun, and I had it just like twisted like 2 ways. You see? So, anyways, I haven't even taken it down. It still smells like my perfume, which smells really nice. And I didn't think that I was gonna like. I mean, obviously, anybody would like to work in a non-smoking environment, but a lot of bars, especially like dive bars, that attract. I would say I don't want to say higher level of tippers because we get really good tippers at my bar now, and we don't have smoking there, but it used to. The last time I worked there, it did. But it's on like a town square, and so during the Corona apocalypse, they went the whole entire square. Like it was like a mandate that came down from the government, from the city, that everybody had to go non-smoking. So it's so nice though getting home and my hair doesn't smell like cigarettes and my clothes usually smell cleaner than they did when I got there because the amount of bleach that goes everywhere in that bar, all over the floors, all over everything. So I end up having to like clean, like breathe. The air in my car smells like bleach basically the whole way home. Anyways, okay, I'm going to just pick up on the big T right here. And if we missed a couple of paragraphs, let's see. I don't know. I'm going to start right here at the bottom of this. I have come to this abode of Christian faith and learning to suggest that Yasharel's resurgence is an event to be conceived in the highest dimensions of human history. Yeah, it's been working out great for humanity so far. It evokes from the past and may portend for the future a deep lesson on the nature of spiritual impulses. The attention which this event has already received in the thought and writing of our age is itself a proof of some special quality within it. And it's so crazy. I don't know if y'all know who Mystery is, but he's been on the app for a long time. And he's doing like where he like little mini Bible studies and stuff now, and I am here for it. I freaking love him. But he was talking about it, and then somebody else was too. It's like they're making this ish up as they go along, bro. Like The Dead Sea Scrolls were like faked, frauded, and that's all, to give their Masoretic text Bible that was written like 1,000 years after the Greek Septuagint, to give it more sway. There's a lot of rewriting of history and just creating history out of absolutely freaking nowhere to legitimize a lot of the stuff that God's chosen people try to tell us. They've totally taken over and control the modern church. I don't know if you listened to my last little rant that I did about the state of Christian content on YouTube. Bro, it's terrible. Nobody's telling the truth. Half these people are getting sucked back into Hebrew roots, and the other half literally think that the geopolitical state of Israel is God's chosen people because the name Israel. It's like, what's wrong with everyone? Literally. Get you some discernment, baby. Anyways, where was I? Okay. The attention which this event has already received in the thought and writing of our age is itself a proof of some special quality within it. It is evident, however, that if Israel's rebirth comes to have this eternal renown, it will not be because of any material dimensions which belong to it. There is nothing global or even massive about the state of Israel in political terms. The territory of our new independence is great in history, but pathetically meager in geography. Which is what is so absolutely disturbing, that you guys have been able to take over the absolute complete world, being only like 0.05% of it or something. Like, what the F? That just goes to show how absolutely totally organized they are. And like all these secret societies are run by them. Yeah. True. It is the bridge between the three continents of the ancient world. It looks out over the highway which has marked the migrations and invasions of history's pageant. But in the calculations of the atomic century, this is a small and humble piece of earth. The bridge is fragile, the highway is narrow, and in the age of air transportation, it no longer obtrudes itself inevitably athwart the paths of conquest and empire. The population directly affected falls short of 2 million. Even when we portray this event in its real essence as a collective climax in the history of the Jays, it still remains true that the conscious agents of Yasharel revival are but a small fraction of the total human family. Yeah, and that's why it's wild that you guys are literally have the world under your thumb because of the banking system and the propaganda machine and modern medicine. Let's see. Clearly, then, if modern Yasharel is to be regarded as an incident of universal scope, this is because of a stature to be ascribed to it in a completely different dimension. If modern Yasharel is to have any elements of greatness, then this quality must be vindicated in the spirit realm. And that is what they're doing. They are dark magicians. Like, modern Hebrew is sigil magic. I keep telling y'all this. And like, nobody's listening to me. Everybody thinks I'm either A, an anti-Semite, or B, just going to hell because I think their God, Yahweh, is the devil. Like, let's wake it up, people. Wake it on up. Okay. To say this is not to deny that some of Yasharel's material achievements are impressive and sometimes deeply moving. The collective survival of the Jays is itself a rare event of history. Many other peoples have lost their independence under the heel of invading empires, but no people other than this, having been so engulfed, has shown such a capacity for recuperation as to preserve amidst martyrdom and dispersion all the elements of its union and identity. It sounds like they're trying to steal the identity of actual Christians, because ain't nobody been martyred, okay? That's a J. Like, they're the ones doing the martyring, or the Romans, which is kind of same difference at this point. Let's see. Many other people, okay, let's see, I already read that. Conscious order, okay. For long centuries, this people, whithersoever it wandered, continued to regard its inner life as rooted in a distant land, which few could ever hope to see with their own eyes. I mean, this is just so much BS, bro. Like, I need to get like some kind of for the channel. Like whenever I get some of these bills paid off, I'm gonna get like a proper background, and I'm gonna have like a light, that like go off, like BS is detected. Like, I'm coming up with ideas to make this channel better, you guys, and funnier. Anyway, let's see. Okay. This connection, for which many generations was an act of mystic faith, that's what I've been saying, became transformed against all material calculations into one of the political realities of our age, unfortunately. I added the unfortunately. The banner of a free Israel now flies proudly again in the family of nations from which it had been absent for so many tragic generations. Y'all know what that is, right? The world's tiniest violin. There is surely something here to arrest the attention of those who study history in terms of national politics and international relations. Yeah, and I think they're wasting their time by studying the fake history of what's considered biblical Hebrew people. I mean, they were Canaanites. That's what they were. They were Canaanites. And 10 of the tribes were, like, y'all excuse my hair. It's so fuzzy. Like, I literally got home from work and slept and just got up, took it out of the bun. Anyways, okay, let me just not stay on topic. Stay on topic, Aaron. There is the pioneering toil and sacrifice which have transformed the wilderness into a semblance of its ancient fertility. There is the epic of mass immigration, which has brought hundreds of thousands of returning newcomers to our shores. Yeah, white Eastern European newcomers. There are great efforts and at times serious results in the increase of industrial and agricultural resources. There is the formation of a new culture, welding many varied immigrant traditions, tongues, and experiences into the tapestry of a distinctive civilization and the image of the ancient Hebrew past. No, it's actually quite nothing of the sort like that. Talmud and Torah are about as disparate as you can get. Torah preaches against sorcery and whatever the other words that you would use for it. And Talmud is magic, and the modern Hebrew language is social magic. So, wasting your time studying any of that other than for any other reason than to expose it. These people that study and take it seriously, like it's a serious, like collegiate, scholarly endeavor. It's like, what are you doing? If you're not trying to debunk this, what are you doing? Why are you giving it any legitimacy by taking it seriously? It's all lies. There are great efforts and at times serious results in the increase of industrial. Okay, I already said that. Okay, there is the struggle against the ravages of pestilence and erosion which had debased the physical aspect of our land and degraded its historic reputation as, quote, the perfection of beauty, the joy of the entire earth. The fucking irony of that statement. Literally everything they say, it's like opposite day. Everything they say is the opposite of the truth, like the diametric opposite of the truth. There is the adventure of establishing within a region dominated by despotism and autocracy a sanctuary for the democratic way of life and the principles of free government. There are advances in literature, the sciences, and arts. All of their literature, science, and art, it's all like demonic, perverted, like nasty shit, man. Hashtag not all, but hashtag most. Okay. Okay, nor can I omit from the positive record of Israel's achievement for the struggle for physical security by a small people besieged on all its embattled frontiers by an unyielding and comprehensive hostility. Forever the victims, never the victimizers. To have achieved so large a volume of international recognition within so brief a time and against such heavy challenge is also among the most notable of Yasharel's victories. That they wouldn't have gotten had they not double-crossed Germany, lied to Britain, and drugged the United States into a war. But I digress. If, despite all this, we concentrate our gaze upon the spiritual aspects of Israel's achievements and destiny, it's not because we renounce our claim to sympathetic appraisal in political, economic, social, and even military history, but when all is said and done, there have been greater battles, far more reaching economic upheavals, vaster irrigation projects, broader revelations of physical power than those which we have recorded, memorable as they are for us. Moreover, even these achievements by Yasharel, while being political, economic, or social in their outward aspect, are primarily significant as illustrations of spiritual forces. Are you listening to me? Are you listening to what I just said? They are trying to have spiritual influence on the world. And y'all just trust them, believe what they say about Torah. We got people out here like literally all these channels now, everybody's going Hebrew roots. What are y'all doing? You're making the work that Jesus did null and fucking void. How dare you? Trying to keep the law. You cannot please the Most High by Torah keeping. And Yahweh is not the Most High. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. And these fucking people are part of the Yahweh worshiping group, whether they admit it or not. You know, this Talmud, it's like not some nebulous thing. And even if it goes back to like ancient times, which I don't know if it does, but like, because people try to say, oh, that's what the Pharisees were doing, was, you know, the Talmud. Maybe they were. They were standing in Yahweh's temple and on Yahweh's appointed times teaching. Okay. So, and they're the ones that have, like, at the expense of people's actual serious careers that I no longer take seriously, people like Matthew Nolan, Stephen Pigeon. He had a whole Bible commission called the Et Sefer, which is what I have read to you guys from. I mean, and I spent like $160 on this Bible or something, okay? And it's full of the word Yahuwah, which is crazy because that word wasn't in the original Greek Old Testament at all. So there's something going on there with that. I have not gotten down to the bottom of that, but like, yeah, there's something weird. Excuse my little baby bangs. You see this? My hair is a hot mess right now, but we're not worried about my hair. We're worried about trying to elucidate what we can from this basic reader here on Schmionism. Okay, and we've established the fact that they want to have spiritual influence on all of us. How dare they? They are testimony to the power of the human will. A few decades ago, the prospect that an independent Jewish state could be established in its ancient homeland appeared so fantastic as to bring its advocates under suspicion of insanity. Statesmen and diplomats to whom the idea was broached in the early years of the First World War were startled at hearing so eccentric an idea even submitted to their official attention. It's because all the genealogies were destroyed and nobody knows who's who. But they have manufactured a fake history and tried to fudge proof of their lineage, and they are not who they say they are. A British ambassador in Paris, hold on, statesman and okay, the First World War startled at hearing such, okay. A British ambassador in Paris, to whom our first president, Dr. Chaim Weizmann, summarized this project in 1915, wrote in his diary that he had encountered a remarkable contradiction. A man of eminent scientific attainments with a keen power of rational analysis who, on this particular issue, appeared to have gone completely off his head. Back in London, Prime Minister Asquith expressed surprise that one of his cabinet colleagues of Jewish faith, normally a man of excessive rationalism, was afflicted with delirium on this special point. Today, with a third Jewish commonwealth in tangible existence, it is the skeptics and the rationalists who appear incongruous to our eyes. Sounds more like problem reaction solution to me. Yet their skepticism seemed then to rest on strong foundations. After all, the Jays were dispersed and divided, split up into divergent fragments, lacking any element of political unity. The greater part of them dwelt thousands of miles away from the prospective scene of their national revival. The land itself appeared to have been sucked dry of all its vitality and to offer no prospect of resettlement. Moreover, it was neither empathy nor available. Oh, no, neither empty nor available. Sorry, guys. I'm still really tired from the weekend, as you can tell. I like every time I get back after working 3 nights of bartending, my voice has gone down at least an octave from like having to talk loudly over music at customers all night. Okay. Let's see, where was I? It seemed unlikely that the Schmionist program could possibly overcome such hostilities and natural adversities. I think a lot of them were adversities of their own making, but that's just what I think. You can think what you want. Yet within a single lifetime, we have passed from a world in which the existence of an independent Israel seemed inconceivable to a world which seems inconceivable without its existence. Does it seem inconceivable to you guys without its existence? I could conceive of it. I'm probably going to get like, I'm not even going to say, I don't even want to put that out there. I don't even want to put that thought out there. But I'm saying some very, whatever, probably controversial stuff, and eventually maybe one day. I'm not even going to say. We're just going to keep on reading. Okay, this is the, okay, let's see. Okay. I know of a few more tangible testimonies in history to the power of the human will to assert itself against material odds. This is the primary value of Israel's rebirth to all those who are concerned with the vindication of faith against the fatalistic or deterministic theories of history, which we see the human being not as the primary agent of historic process, but merely as their helpless subject matter. Thus, quite apart from its context in the annals of the Jays, the rebirth of modern Yasharel would earn its place in history as a crushing argument in the internal discussion between the claims of the faith and the doctrines which deny the human will any essential part of governing the world's destiny. Those materialistic doctrines would have an impossible task to perform to explain Yasharel's revival solely in material or economic terms. Now, this belief in the power of the human will is a recurrent theme in Yasharel's history. The most distinctive attribute of Yasharel's character, the source of some weakness out of greater strength, is its tenacious refusal to recognize the distinction between imagination and reality. In the grammar of classical Hebrew, there is no grammar of classical Hebrew. There is grammar of revived Hebrew, which is nothing more than conjured up, made up by Eleazar Yitzhak Perlman, or Eleazar ben Yehuda, as some people call him. But that he did kind of like Satan Yahoo did, whose name was like something that ends with like an SKI, like a Polish sounding name. They changed their names to sound more quote unquote Hebrew, but this Hebrew language is a language they completely made up. Like, it's not the same alphabet, and there's really not too much, I don't think, proof of actual like Paleo Hebrew. I could be mistaken about that, but I don't think I am. I think it's why it's called a Proto-Canaanite language, because like it really wasn't even really Hebrew. It was Canaanite. Okay. Now, this belief in the power of the human will is a recurrent theme in Yasharel's. Okay, already. Okay. In the grammar, okay, of the classical Hebrew, there is none of the sharp differentiation possessed by modern languages between that which is and that which shall be. This deliberate confusion between imagination and reality, between the will and the fact, has been illustrated at many stages of our history. Bro. The projection, bro, it's like starting to really piss me off. All right. The aspects of this revival, which belong ostensibly to political history, cannot be denied. See how they're like literally trying to blur the lines between real history, ancient history, politics, economics, religion, and themselves, and the actual blood Hebrews of the Old Testament, and these people who are neither ancient nor Hebrew. They're friggin' Turkic Mongols. Okay. Okay. Oh, and here we go. Here we go. Okay. The homelessness and martyrdom of the Jewish people was not merely a source of Jewish grief and an international political tension. It was also a burden upon the Christian conscience. Oh, was it? The weight of this burden became heavy beyond endurance in the aftermath of the Second World War. When the curtain went up on the burnt, mangled bodies of the six, they're dropping the 6 million number, which we already know is not true. It was probably 1/24th or something of that. It wasn't no 6 million, bro. Including 1 million children. Don't you love how they try to bring the children into it? And that was because of the cold weather conditions and lack of health care and like starvation. I mean, they were in camps, but nobody was getting, uh, you know, fresh cooked. Okay, nobody was. That has been debunked completely and entirely by a lot of people, and particularly one man from Canada that went over there and looked and came back and wrote a book. And I know I've mentioned this before. They say he went to prison. They saw to it that when he got back to his motherland of Canada, they did away with the book that he was writing, and they sent his ass right on down the road. So this is not really safe work here, trying to expose these people. But like, I can't not, like, this is crazy to me that they think they have the right to rule over us because some old dusty book that y'all are being dragged back into following. What are you doing? Anyway. Okay. The weight of this burden became heavy beyond endurance in the aftermath of the Second World War when the curtain went up on the... Oh, yeah, we already did that. Okay, and the children... The Jays had fallen victim to the most fearful agony which had ever beset any family of the... Really? What about all, like, 20 million or 60 million or how many ever Christians it was in the Bolshevik Revolution? Like, what about all those people? They deny that that's a real thing, which it was a real thing. And not only that, but Christians all throughout history have been the true victims of this kind of unaliving. But just like everything else, the Jays steal identities, project, lie, say the opposite is true of what is really true. Like, this is what they do, bro. So no, it wasn't the Christians that 60 million or how many ever million were unalived. Way more than 6, which is not even a correct number for the Jays. The whole continent was saturated with its blood and haunted by its unexpiated What a weird, unexpiated sacrifice. As the world rose from the ravages of the Second World War, it became perilously near to creating an injustice more heinous than any which had been eliminated by the triumph of the Allied cause. It became horribly but seriously possible that every nation would be granted its freedom amongst those which had suffered under the heel of tyranny, except the people which had suffered the most. The most, bro? No. And y'all act like it was because of your religion. It was not. It was because you double crossed the Germans, you sucked them dry of their wealth, and then you tried to starve them to death, and then you're pushing the same crap that you're pushing in America right now. This whole transgender thing, and like all this crazy, sick, twisted, sexual shit. Like, and then act like, we can't be holy unless we follow the Torah. Well, guess what? There is a law of Christ, and it's to avoid strangled things, homo relationships, like unaliving people or something. I can't even remember what the other there's four. There's four things that like they tell all the Christian converts to do in the New Testament. And these are all things that the Jays love to do. Anyways, okay. Oh, probably except for the strangled. They keep kosher. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm so sleepy. I shouldn't have done this, but I had to. We're so close to finishing this book, and then I don't know if I should do Beware the World to Come next, or if I should do the 13th Tribe next, or if I should do the Tavistock Institute next, because the Jays are big time behind this. And this is why Europe is falling right now. And this was their center for the subversion of Western civilization. So let me know in the comments which one you want me to read next. And this one is about their actual this is about their actual religion, Kabbalah, by Christopher John Bjerknes. And I found out about him from Adam Green, who used to be on here, but he was exposing the Rebbe's too hardcore, way too hardcore, and YouTube took him down immediately. I think he's over on like Rumble, and with Red Ice Radio too. They took them down, but I think they're both on Rumble. But they're all great, and I think they're all atheists, which that's fine with me. I don't care. I don't care what you believe. But if you are a Christian, there are things that you definitely need to know, because I feel like Christians are some of the most brainwashed people, especially in America. And if you guys don't stop following this agenda, we're all gonna freaking be unalived. Okay? You got to wake up. All right. Okay. The people that suffered the most, all the victims of tyranny would be established in sovereignty, except the first and the most sorely ravaged amongst the targets of totalitarian persecution. If the world order had been established under Christian leadership upon this discrimination, it would surely have been conceived with an intolerable measure of original guilt. You see, they fucking hate us. Christian or just Jesus believer. And they're working on you Hebrew roots people. And if I don't start hearing more Hebrew roots people talking about Jesus, I'm going to start calling y'all out by name, because this is crazy. And I'm going to at you too. Anyways. Let's see. Okay. Original guilt. Yeah. The original guilt's on us when in Jesus' time, who was it that was being martyred? Christians. Yes, some of them might have been Judean Christians who practiced Torah, but because that's who it says Jesus came to save first, which I find questionable even in that, but that's for another time. From this spiritual peril, the community of nations cleansed itself belatedly, perhaps a little too grudgingly, but nevertheless decisively, when it ordained and later recognized the establishment of Yasharel. And it was begrudgingly because these MFers literally bled dry 109, okay? If you know what 109 means, that's an amount of times in kingdoms and countries that they were given the boot from. And like, I'm sorry, but like, if you are someone that has had like 109 roommates and you've been kicked out of every single one of their houses, is it all of your other roommates' fault and they're all the crazy ones, or is it you? You know, take a moment to mull that over. An international society, including a J state, and an international society of the Second World War, excluding any satisfaction of the J-ish claim to equality, would have been two totally antithetical concepts from the ethical point of view. Thus, the renewal of Yasharel's sovereignty, though ostensibly a fact of political organization, was, in the deeper sense, of an act of universal equity. Yeah, no, now y'all are ruling the whole thing. Y'all are the white supremacists, okay? It is a stage of preferment in the history of the Christian conscience. My conscience is pretty clear, honestly. I don't know what, I mean, and I don't, in the sense of like what modern Christianity teaches today, I do not consider myself one, but I do sometimes still refer to myself as one just because I'm a Jesus believer. And, originally that was supposed to be what the term meant, but now it's like, you're not a Christian if you don't believe in this futurist rapture doctrine, eschatology. If you don't believe that like these people are like the people from the Old Testament, it's like, I don't believe any of that. So no. And then also, if I don't believe that the Old Testament God is Jesus' Father, because this new language that's been invented, this new Hebrew 2.0, okay, it's sigil magic, and it's to deceive you, and they will try and tell you that the word Yahusha or Yeshua comes from Yahuwah. Well, yeah, because they made it up to mean that, so that they could have authority over your mind and take authority over the languages. Study it in Greek. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Okay. The same consideration applies with particular force when we examine the problem of equity in its regional aspect. No people benefited more lavishly than the Arabs from the new inheritance of freedom bequeathed by the victories of the Allied powers in 2 world wars and the establishment of the United Nations. In an area where not a single free Arab or Muslim had lived in political independence for 4 decades ago, there were now to be created 7, 8, and then 9 separate Arab sovereignties extending over a vast subcontinent from Pakistan to the central Mediterranean, from the Taurus Mountains to the Persian Gulf. This region of Arab independence was immeasurably rich in physical power. Great fertile valleys spread out within it. Abundant rivers flowed across its lands. Unlimited resources of mineral and natural wealth lay beneath its soil. Never since the great era of the Muslim Caliphate, a full millennium ago, had the Arab world commanded such elements of strength and opportunity as those which now came within its reach. And that's another thing that I've heard certain people say, is that Judaism and Islam are like little butt buddies, and that they kind of work together against the Jesus believers. Here again, the international conscience was faced with a burning problem of equity. Equity means like equality of outcomes, okay? You don't want equity, you want equality. You want, like, in a meritocracy, anyways, like, which this equity thing is a communist ideal, all right? So please know that. Okay, would it be considered right for the Arab people to hold sway over a vast continent and wrong for the Jays to establish its independence and a mere fragment of this huge domain? Would it be the decree of history that the Arabs must be independent everywhere and the Jay people nowhere, not even in the land which owed all its renown and history to its connections with the Hebrew nation? You guys aren't Hebrews. Like, good God. This was the problem of conscience which underlay those political discussions in international forums and in the chancelleries of the powers. Here again, there was the peril of an award so one-sided and discriminatory as to weigh down the international conscience for generations to come. After many hesitations, the world community purged itself of any such approach. It rightly established and encouraged the emancipation of the Arab people on an almost imperial scale. But the benefit, nay, the elementary right which it conferred upon the Arabs in such abundance was also bestowed upon the Jays, albeit within more meager and austere limits. Nothing's ever good enough for you fucking people. Like, god dang. This picture of an Arab freedom beyond the wildest dreams of recent generations, side by side with an immeasurably more modest satisfaction of the principle of Jay's independence, should stand forever before us whenever we consider the spiritual implications of the controversy between Arab and Israel nationalism. The spiritual implications, you say? It would have been an indelible disgrace to universal justice if a world which had rightly bequeathed this vast liberation to the Arab nations had begrudged the Jays its small share of freedom. But you see what they do with it. You see what they do with it. They brainwash people. They they talk our military into starting wars and send our children away to be unalived for their sick, twisted machinations and desirous ends. Like, come on, dudes. We gotta wake up, bros. We gotta wake up, friends. Anyways, I'm sure that my thumbnail is gonna be like, it's gonna get me doing some stupid face. But anyways, so I'm stopping for there. I've got to go lay down. I'm exhausted, bro. It's probably, I don't know, 3 in the afternoon at this point. And I cannot believe that I woke up this early. I didn't go to sleep until like 6 o'clock this morning. And then I woke up at like, I don't know, 8 or 9, having to wee. And then I went ahead and let the dog out. And then I came back in and I fell back asleep until about 1:30. And I got up and I fed the dog again. And I let the dog out again. And I made a cup of coffee. But like, my body is tired. Like, I feel like I have been hit by a bus. So I'm weak, but it's still a blessing. It's a blessing to have the job that I have. Like, I love it. It's crazy because I was such a stupid idiot when I first started working there. I mean, I was a literal stupid idiot. I was still, messing around in my addiction phase, and I was very mentally like a kid still. I had no understanding of the world whatsoever or how it worked. And I'm not going to pretend that I, understand too much more, but I definitely understand more than I did, friends. And that's what the understanding that I'm coming to is, like, all of the information that I am like trying to convey to you. I got like dark circles under the eyes. I tried to put on a little sparkly something so I wouldn't look totes dead, but yeah. Anyways, I have gotten some more perfumes and stuff, so I'm probably gonna try to start doing that, and then maybe I don't know, I might do some product reviews on makeup because I do have you can't really see very good, but I've got some big pores and I've got other stuff going on with my skin, and I want to do some long-term product reviews, like, on like these lines under my eyes and all that kind of stuff, which, if you're here for the readings of these books, cool, watch that. And then I'm going to try to cultivate a little bit of an audience on perfumes and stuff, because I have thoughts, and my thoughts are valid, just as valid as any other person here on YouTube. I've been a perfume enthusiast for probably longer than half of these people have been alive. So with that, I'm going to wish everyone a wonderful Sunday afternoon, and I'll check you later.